Welcome, one and all, to the Chaos List. This is episode number 5, according to me. Episode 3, I think, according to Chris and Danny. But, my opinion, my show, it's all good. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you've had a great week so far. Let me bring in my my co-hosts. We have Chris Knight, who is apparently picking his nose.
No, I'm listening to your bullshit.
Yeah, and then we have Danny.
Majority rules in this craziness, okay? Just so you know.
Yeah, so we've got everybody here tonight. We've got, as usual, we have 5 topics to discuss and some other random things. Jason Miller's in the chat. What's up, Jason? Glad you're here. So, first off the bat, I want to read this article because this pertains to one of our topics. So, the rumor as of today, Henry Cavill rumored back as Superman for Shazam 2. It says it's being claimed that Henry Cavill might be back as Superman for Shazam 2, which will put him in an epic battle with Zachary Levi. The rumor says Henry Cavill as Superman will come under the control of Mr. Mind, the only survivor of a mind-controlling race of worms from Venus, who was teased in the Shazam post-credit scene, and that Cavill will be part of this of a small scene in Shazam 2. Let's see. Just as I have said myself, the rumor claims that Dwayne Johnson wants to use Henry Cavill, and as has previously been reported, The Rock wants a DC shared universe. Henry Cavill is also rumored for Black Adam 2. Collaborate.
So DC, The Rock wants the shared universe, but yes. DC doesn't.
And if The Rock wants it, The Rock's probably going to get it.
X gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
As I've pointed out many times, Henry Cavill's manager is Danny Garcia, the former wife and business partner of Dwayne Johnson and producer on the Shazam and Black Adam flicks. So, of course, it makes sense for them to want to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman. Henry Cavill did recently say he's going to fight for the role and not give up, and he has seen big-time success and popularity with the Netflix The Witcher series, which has certainly bolstered his chances of returning as Superman among Warner Brothers execs. Cavill was originally supposed to cameo in Shazam, but reportedly talks broke down between Garcia and Warner Brothers over getting Cavill a new contract with more money. So there is that. Let's jump out of here. So what do you guys think about that?
I think he's coming back as Superman. I just don't. I'm not sure if I buy that they would bring him back in this, because I know Shazam 2. I think has it started shooting yet?
I don't believe so,
but I know that they're pretty far into the pre-production with script and stuff, from what I've heard.
If they're going for Black Adam, there was a DC animated movie where Superman shows up and help Shazam defeat Black Adam. If they're going that route, I could totally see Superman, and Mr. Mind controlling Superman's mind. That would definitely be entertaining.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have no doubt he's coming back, and I guess you could do this. It just seems like a waste. You're gonna give a guy a contract, give him tons of money, and then say the first thing he's gonna be back in is a cameo. I mean, I guess that's a way to introduce him back, but you're not going to keep it quiet. So what does it matter? It won't matter.
Well, yeah, but
if you could keep it quiet, if you could keep it absolutely quiet, like the day that they release it, say, listen, we're going to pay you for this. We're not going to tell anybody you're going to be in it. We're not going to put your name out there for this. We're going to shoot the scene. We're going to get you out. We're going to bring you in a black limo, and you're going to be in a hood and all that stuff. Nobody's going to know you're here. And then the day that the movie hits, then you announce the signing. Okay, maybe.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't see why you would waste it on a cameo.
Well, they were going to have him cameo in Shazam.
I understand that, but what I mean is that he had already been doing it.
I don't think this
right now
be a cameo as we think of cameos, like where you just show up and you're gone. I think that Superman is actually going to have to fight with Shazam to take out Black Adam, because Shazam is still very, very green.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
Again,
while
I
I'm
don't
thinking
think
about it, I just want to give a shout out to Sauerkraus. What's going on? Jason Miller and Sauerkraus in the chat. Glad to see you guys here.
what were you gonna say, Danny?
I don't want to see it. It's not comic book accurate. Mr. Man is not from Venus. He's from one of the other 7 realms, and they're already starting off from the wrong foot.
Well, it could just be a typo
I-
on their part. I mean,
I've heard that comic book news is not very
yeah. Well, yeah,
source.
cosmic book news is not always reliable. That is a fact.
I don't know of a real reliable site to begin with.
Well, I know, me neither.
Everybody's
The Hollywood Reporter seems to be on point.
Sometimes. I think everybody gets, dog sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while. It's the same thing with a lot of these magazines and stuff. I mean, the farther in the UK you go and stuff like that, when they're reporting stuff over here, typically I can believe more of that stuff because they normally spin the truth when it comes to stuff happening over here. But you don't want to see it, Danny, like that.
No, I would rather see him. Like Sean said, maybe team up with like the animation with him and Shazam face Black Adam.
Yeah,
I think that's more feasible. I don't want to see Mr. Mind controlling him.
Yeah, but
it might be interesting. But I'd rather see Superman and Shazam just beating the crap out of Black Adam. Because that would be a fight.
There was a Justice League episode. I think Lex had something to do with it. And Shazam fighting against Superman and was doing pretty good till Superman figured out that when he said Shazam, the lightning transformed him.
Yep.
So he held him up, and when the lightning came back,
well,
his mouth, so he couldn't say Shazam again.
Here's the thing that I don't personally, I don't believe this is going to happen. And Sean, work with me here.
Okay.
DC. Again, this is where my problem with DC always comes into play. They reverse their course from team up and these combined universe pictures. And then what you're telling me is that The Rock's going to make them change their mind again.
I think
The Rock does
make them change their mind, it would be The Rock because he has
star power.
Yeah, he has like a very high amount of star power right now.
But then my problem is still that DC has no clue what they're doing. They never could stay consistent. They don't ride the course, which actually in this case, not riding the course on we're not going to do these combined universe movies didn't last that long, really. And if you think about it, Birds of Prey is still technically a combined universe.
Mm-hmm.
The Suicide Squad is going to be a combined universe.
Yep.
So if they go right back to it, they really haven't altered that much.
So
and I'd be happy with that.
No one's arguing that point, Chris. I'm just thinking that DC know they got more success with these solo movies. They combine, they seem to fuck it up. They can get maybe a solo movie, Shazam, and then maybe Superman be the bad guy, so to speak.
Yeah,
that may be a recipe for success.
I'm more interested right now in seeing like solo movies than you might have appearances by other JLA members or other villains from like Legion of Doom. Sort of what they did like in Spider-Man Homecoming, where Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man was there a little bit, doing the assist. But that's kind of, I would rather do that to have them test the waters before they would go into another full-blown team-up movie. Because every time they do a Justice League movie, they have to knock it out of the park. They cannot do it again like they did.
Yeah, you see, and you said it. Here's the thing. Let's go back to how Marvel did it. Marvel had other characters, but you'd meet them before they became that character, or they would not be that character. Like think about the end of the Incredible Hulk when Tony Stark shows up. These they do, if they were to do that, say, hey, look, here's Superman in the end of Shazam 2. It's not a team up movie, but it says, hey, he is a part of this movie or a part of this group, a part of this universe. Those things are what made Marvel popular, because the way they introduced people and then they lightly sprinkled in the other characters here and there, and you knew it was leading up to something. And you see, that's why, I mean, like you said, Justice League should have been held off. And as soon as they had a problem with Zack Snyder, they should have said, "Wait, we're gonna stop, and we're gonna go back, and we're really gonna look at this movie and see if we need to do this right now." Or because that was the moment to say, "Oh, because I understand it's a lot of money to do that, but by doing so, you save yourself and say, hey." And what did Sonic do? Wait, stop. We're going to come back when we have a product that we know fans want to see. And the problem is, again, the fans wanted to see Justice League. It's just they didn't get the Justice League they thought they were going to get because
I don't think we wanted to see it that soon because there were only a couple movies into it, and it seemed really rushed.
Yeah, and they really had a good start with you already had a storyline with Batman versus Superman coming straight out of Man of Steel. They had a good beginning and you could see where it was going to go. And then the beginning of Justice League started out like it was a part of that, and it just kind of fell apart and became something completely different.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And the only good thing that comes out of the fact that they're not going to go back and do that anytime soon is we're going to possibly get a better Lex Luthor.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
That Luthor was trash.
Well, I didn't realize that was his son. Parents told me that on all stream. I was like, I didn't really realize that.
Yes,
so I don't think a lot of the casual fans realize that either.
Yes, it is.
Dandelion Fluff, what's going on? Terrence, what's going on? Glad to see you here. Oh, we've got Terrence.
Hey, Terrence.
What's up, Terrence?
Hey, yeah. It does not matter that it's his son because it's still inaccurate and it's still trash.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, his son is much better in the comic books than how he was portrayed in the movie. I mean,
everything
is a super genius.
Everything in it that has to do with Lex Luthor or his son is better than that was.
Yeah, because in Crisis in that storyline in the comics, Alexander, was much better in there, and he was responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of people. And in this one, Alexander, in quotes, you can't see my fingers, but he he just stood around just being creepy and
annoying
and annoying. I'm like, man, get that out of here.
Yeah. Well, since you're here really quick, and this is just a brief departure, what do you think of Kevin Spacey playing Lex?
He's the one that was in Returns.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was meh. Like, I mean, he was slightly one of the better parts of that incredibly boring movie, but it was still meh. And I just every time I think back to that movie, I don't really have anything positive to say about it. It's not the worst comic book film that I've seen, but it's kind of fleeting from one's memory until someone brings it up, which is very bad when you're talking about a Superman movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and my biggest, not my biggest thing, but one of my biggest things about Superman Returns is that Lex was still focused on property rights. He wasn't the evil genius, take over the world type of guy,
Yeah, but you see, the problem is general audiences just can't grasp around things as big as what he thought in the comic books and stuff. They kind of understand property rights. Plus, with the original Superman movies, they were kind of programmed to think that. I think Superman Returns was meant to be just the fifth Superman movie. It just didn't have Christopher Reeve in it. I think that's what they were trying to.
Well, there was supposed to be a sequel. I was actually earlier today. I was watching Michael Rosenbaum's YouTube channel. He had an interview with Brandon Routh, and Brandon was saying that there was supposed to be a sequel after that. And even though the movie did well enough, he was talking about how he fell into depression and what have you, after the fact, because everybody around him was saying, yes, 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 let's go. And then, his world pretty much fell out from underneath him. So, they had plans. In fact, the sequel to Brandon Routh's movie was going to be called The Man of Steel.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get a sequel. I'm very glad about that because
unless he would have been like, Kingdom Come Superman from Crisis, then I'd have been all about that.
Right. I mean, that's true, but I seriously doubt that's where they were going. Like, if anything, we probably would have got a slightly more entertaining version of Returns, like where they, probably considered some of the criticisms and they might have bumped it up just a little bit, but that direction was so specific that I'm just like, why should I have joy for, a sequel of that particular film?
I agree. It was a waste because we saw in Crisis how good of a Superman he could actually be if given the proper.
I like him as Superman, but I mean, I understand you guys' issue with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, because my opinion of Routh in the context of Returns was, this is an example of not only a very flat Superman movie, but I thought it was just purely bad casting. I'm like, this dude does not fit the character. But in Crisis, then I was like, you know what? Now this is what I would have preferred to see. So that showed me that, with certain writing and, they beefed him up a little bit more, that was what I was expecting.
Yep.
So that was a good way to change my mind. But because what they gave me and everyone else was so flat, that I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to believe this until you prove to me otherwise.
I agree. And I think a lot of that, I think a lot of that is, Bryan Singer's fault. Truthfully.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I do. And he left the X-Men to go do Superman Returns. I think that was a huge mistake. But so let's get on to our question or topic portion of the show, guys. The first topic is brought to you by Folgers Coffee. No, I'm just joking.
Please no, because I hate their new commercials. What was wrong with the mom waking up and seeing her son in the living room?
I don't know. So the first topic is James Mangold may replace Steven Spielberg on Indiana Jones 5. Despite Spielberg's decision, Variety notes that he will remain as a hands-on producer. The report also states that Spielberg made the decision to step down in a desire to pass along Indy's whip to a new generation to bring their perspective to the story. Spielberg and George Lucas created Indiana Jones for their first collaborations, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The duo stayed together for 3 sequels to the film. If Spielberg does step down, this will be the first Indy without Lucas and Spielberg in the primary creative roles. Now, I know a while back, after Disney bought Star Wars, Disney pitched an episode of Star Wars to Spielberg, and Spielberg said, "No, I can't do it. George is my friend. I don't want to go into that territory." So I wonder if this has anything to do with that.
How so?
Well, since Disney owns Indiana Jones now, and this is something that he has done all along with George Lucas, how he may not feel comfortable with directing the film without George Lucas's involvement.
It's possible, but here's the thing. I'll just be honest with you is that I want to pass it on to a new generation. No, I just think that they've given him some hints of things they might want to do with this film. And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. And plus, here's the next problem with this. There isn't a script for sure yet. And Harrison Ford has always said with these, until there's a script he won't go with it. So we're still really far ahead of this. And until that's done, I mean, if it's something like I gotta say, if it's something like the religious artifacts thing again, I'm not positive that Spielberg will step down. Even though the executive producer role and producer roles are much stronger than the director's roles nowadays in films, I just don't know. And I got a bad feeling about this, to quote Star Wars. Just got to say it. I mean, you know me, Sean. I'm an indie fan. I liked 4, but if you take Spielberg out of this, I just don't. I mean, 4 was touch and go at times.
Well, I want to say, Sean, number one, Danny, I like the background. You know, that's where it's at right there. Honestly, I've never been a fan of the Indiana Jones films. Like I liked them, but I wasn't as big on them as like, you know, my friends and stuff that were really diehard fans. But I understood the appreciation for the franchise because it is great. You know what I mean? And but whatever one that I watched, the last one, number 4, I remember at one point I was talking to one of my friends, and this is all of like, I don't know, like 12 years ago or something like that. But he's like, man, Terrence, I really love this franchise. And, you know, I don't think they can make a bad film. And I was like, yeah, I don't see that happening either, you know. And then that was before number 4, mind you. and then number 4 came out, and I remember when the movie was over, I said to him, like, remember how I was having that conversation about I don't think they're ever going to make a bad one. I think this one about does it. So if anything was going to get me on board to be a hardcore fan like you, I believe that this installment just ruined those chances.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Ninja says to me, the Indiana Jones franchise doesn't really have to continue. I'm with you, man.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, they honestly, in my opinion, I mean, there were parts of Indiana Jones 4 that felt like an Indiana Jones movie, but if they would have left it off at 3, I would not have minded.
Nope, wouldn't have minded either.
I think sometimes.
Go ahead, Danny.
I think you and Sean in particular, Chris, are selfish. When it comes to that, I'm going to explain that.
Okay.
Sometimes you think stuff is so good, or like Ghostbusters, whatever that. From what I'm hearing you talk, that you don't want it touched. But realistically, hear me out. If somebody owns this property, they're not just going to sit there and let that property sit on the shelf and it's like, well, this is the creme de la creme. This is this whatever. Eventually, if it's passed to a new owner, then decide, look, I'm going to take this. I'm going to reboot it. I'm going to do this, and this. It's going to make us, and I'm myself there too, like, man, why are you messing with that? You shouldn't mess with that because it's good as is. So I think eventually, one day, maybe not this time, but we're going to see Indiana Jones again. People like to say, well, people like to say, an example I'm going to use is, like me and Chris discussed this on our last stream, I did not think Ben Affleck could pull off Batman. When I first heard his name, I was like, no. Same thing with Robert Pattinson. When I first heard him, all I thought was Twilight. And I'm seeing him in this suit. I'm waiting for the trailer to continue that sensation of, man, yeah, I think he can do this. So everybody say Harrison Ford, no one can replace what's in Indiana Jones.
No, I don't think it's a matter of Harrison Ford necessarily being too old for this, because they could write.
I think he is too old.
Well, he is.
They could pass it on to somebody else.
No.
Yeah, but they could. Yeah. I mean, this would be in the 60s right now, so they could write it in such a way that it would fit his age. But there are other properties out there that are basically Indiana Jones ripoffs.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go off that real quick here. Okay. First off, National Treasure.
Yeah.
Go to National. You're talking about Disney. Oh, well, they're not just going to buy something to let it die. Why aren't they on National Treasure? It's the same damn thing. They can kill this off and let it sit. I have something to tell you. MGM, the company MGM, owns the complete rights since like 1942 or something like that of Gone with the Wind. They've never thought about remaking that movie.
Yep.
People buy properties and they let it die. They let it stay where it was, be a part of what it is. And that's what indie is. Even my 18-year-old son knows that
You can't compare Indiana Jones.
even when my son even knows when Harrison Ford is done, if he doesn't do this fifth one, if they're done with it now, my son even said it just doesn't make sense to keep moving forward in time because that's not what Indiana Jones is.
Man, where have I been at? I didn't know you had a son, Chris.
I have two.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Can continue. That just kind of threw me off.
But he can't keep going forward. Even somebody that spins off from him, it won't be Indiana Jones.
No,
it just won't. So why not put your time and effort into something like National Treasure then? Because you could somehow theoretically find somebody that looks kind of like Nicolas Cage, go backwards far enough that maybe he met Indiana Jones, or tie the two together and maybe make a nice nod to Indiana Jones and move forward from there.
You could.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but like you said when you said another thing with Han, I did not know that Wizard of Oz was a remake. I never knew the one. Did not know that, but the remake was better.
But actually,
the actual, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that.
Well, when it comes to Indiana Jones, I suppose there's a way to do it just like almost anything else. But the difference with, say, someone like Batman, since he's been around for more than 6 decades, it's expected that they're going to redo him in some kind of way. And not just as in a movie form, but people are expecting animation. They're expecting video games. They're expecting comic books. There's an expectation that comes with that. You will always have, a fan of this Batman or fan of that Batman or that Joker and so on. But, even though they may not want someone else to play the Batman because they already have their favorite, they're still sort of open to the idea, and there's a curiosity there to see what's going to happen the next time around. With Indiana Jones, from the various humans that I've spoken to, I haven't heard any of them say that they, care about a sort of reboot or a remake. And they've been very hesitant on even, Harrison Ford, for, as they told me, they feel that, he had his time. He's a little bit older now. There's only so much you can do with that. And they don't want to see what they said specifically as a sad interpretation. They would rather leave the golden stuff alone and then move from there. But, I get what you're saying, though, Danny. I do.
All right. On that note, let's move on to topic number 2. And this is
what I've said all along.
Well, it's not confirmed completely yet, but Sony and Disney executives want to keep Spider-Man in the MCU. During the Hollywood Reporter's recent studio executive discussion, Sony Pictures chairman Tom Rothman and Disney chief creative officer Alan Horn discussed how everything managed to come to terms over Spider-Man. This is a quote: "The fan base, which is important to all of us, seemed to really respond to what Tom Rothman and his folks had done before with our people, and they like it," explained Horn. "They like the fact that the MCU and Kevin Feige were involved, and we heard feedback out there that suggested joining forces once again was probably a really good idea. I think it was a win for Disney, and I think it was a win for the fans."
Yep. I've never swayed off of this. These two, Sony and Spider-Man and the MCU, are tied at the hip right now because of what Disney helped them achieve. And whether or not you like it or not, I still think somehow or another Disney's going to end up with the rights. And I think all these extra things we're talking about in the Spider-Verse, all these extra movies that they've talked about with Venom, Morbius, all this other stuff going on, I still think this is just trying to sweeten the pot for Honey to jump in more or make more deals with them, or possibly, which again, I don't understand, and I don't necessarily believe that they'll buy it outright, but Disney wants this and Sony needs it.
I think Sony would be fine to do it on their own personally. Terrence, what is your opinion? I know you're like a heavily invested person in comic books. Would you rather see Sony stay with the MC or Spider-Man stay with the MCU, or would you rather see them go and do their own thing with Sony?
Um, I've maintained a position for a while before something like the Fox Disney merger happened with X-Men and Fantastic Four. That when you have a lot of characters under the same roof, in this case being Spider-Man, it really puts a little cripple on the creative process. Sony, the way that they have done their Spider-Man films is very different from what Disney would do with the Spider-Man and his villains. So, from my perspective of being the Marvel Comics fan and then also a fan of the MCU, I'm aware of what they tend to give us. The MCU films, to a large degree, are not very surprising. We get
Right.
some good stuff and we cheer and we kind of move on and wait for the next one. Usually the surprising comic book films would come from something that Sony would do, something that Fox would do,
Mhm.
or even something that Warner Brothers would do. So on one end, the fan in me is like, oh, okay, they can do some really cool stuff. But on the other end, I'm like, I don't really want the same chef preparing all the food.
Exactly. That's been my entire argument for the MCU overall, maybe over the past 5 years. Everything tastes the same.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that Sony sees numbers and Disney sees numbers.
Yeah, but like Nindro just said, Sony knows Spider-Man best, and that's because Sony has had Spider-Man for 20 years.
Yeah, but
And I'll say this to solidify my point. Now, Chris is not wrong with the numbers. I mean, it is a business first, and if
Sure.
you're making money, they don't care about us. They really don't. They say
No.
that to get our money, but as long as they're sitting there swimming in $100 bills, they don't care. But to solidify my point, compare something like Spider-Man 2 to Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home.
Not even in comparison.
It's not a comparison. Now, the difference being is that with Spider-Man 2, you literally have one of the greatest comic book films ever made. You have a great villain. You have compelling storytelling. You have a soundtrack in its own right that's just its own thing. Like that soundtrack is phenomenal. One
Yep.
of the best I've heard for any sort of comic book movie. With Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, those are more accurate to what Spider-Man would be like, but they're not better movies. Spider-Man 2 is just a great movie that happens to have Spider-Man characters in it
Right.
because of
Good
the
point, Terrence.
yeah.
A lot of people are thinking that Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home are superior movies just because they made over $1 billion. That doesn't matter. There are more people on this earth right now than there were when Spider-Man 1 and 2 came out back in the day. So logically, it probably would make more money. Just
worldwide, though. Okay, worldwide
I
earnings.
was not done, sir.
Go ahead.
But now you made me lose my train of thought.
Come
I
on.
hate you.
No, you were talking about superior movies because they made over.
Anyway, so he's gone now. Now it's my show. Okay, you're back. Continue, Chris. Continue.
No, I was just saying, I was trying to help you back on your train of thought because your train's always derailing.
I know.
No, I was going to say, you were talking about how they made all this money and stuff. And you think that people take that as a far superior movie. Only reason why I say that Sony is on board with Disney doing it is because that money. That's their main thing. But what's funny is, so we know A Far From Home is the #1 worldwide grossing Spider-Man movie ever. What was #2?
Probably Spider-Man 2.
Taryn?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Like I would have to think about the numbers, but off of my top of my head, like it would have to be, I would say either Spider-Man 2, 3, or Homecoming, but I could be wrong because I'm not really on the numbers right now. But
Yeah, it is Spider-Man 3.
okay.
Really?
Yeah, which
Wow.
goes to show you that just because, like you said, Sean, just because money's involved in it doesn't mean that it's a good movie.
That's absolutely true.
So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that Sony has made just as many faux pas with this because you were either on board with the Amazing Spider-Man or you weren't when they rebooted it. And it's a point of contention, what a lot of people say. And of course, you can't have one actor play Spider-Man forever. I mean, really, to be able to do that for like 6, 7, 8 movies or whatever,
I agree with Dandelion Fluff. They say, can't Spider-Man not exist in 2 universes? Both should develop movies if they have good story ideas. Why couldn't Spider-Man walk between worlds?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
it's kind of what
Sony,
they're doing.
but Sony, though, you have to remember that you're talking about Spider-Man is in the MCU in terms of the 2 films we got, and we've seen him appear in Infinity War and Endgame and Civil War. But we also have films like Venom and Morbius. Those are Spider-Man related characters, and we have no idea completely what's going to be in Morbius or how the movie's going to end, what the mid-credit scenes are going to be. Who knows?
We know that. Okay, so the Disney deal, almost by all sources that I have seen, part of that deal stated that Sony said that he has to make a cameo in Venom 2 because he was supposed to make it in Venom. And that was part of the deal. If Disney was still going to be on this deal with Sony said, we have the right to use that character with.
Well, I mean, they said that the deal was supposed to be the newest deal is that he would get one more movie in the MCU, and they can figure out where they want to place him appearance wise, and then they would have to renew a contract. So he could literally appear in Morbius. He could be in Venom 2. Like, who knows? But
I think he might be in more than one thing, because I think Sony's going to kind of look at Disney and say, listen, we're going, if you're going to continue to go forward, because they gave Disney more money this time. I mean,
they did, but it doesn't change the contract. If we see him more than once, then what that means is they low key did something and they didn't alert any of us, and it was supposed to be nothing more than a surprise thing, which would be awesome. Like, imagine if they pull some shit over our eyes, and I'm sitting here coming up with 15 million theories, and they're like, but you did not see this coming, So if they can do that, someone like me would be impressed, because I run all kinds of scenarios through my mind. And if I can say that wasn't even on my radar, then I would give them all the props in the world for that.
Guys, really quick, off the top of my head, everybody in the chat, everybody who is listening, do me a favor, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. And if you would be so kind, please share this video with all of your friends on your social media. Let's bring in some more people into this the video, and I would really, really appreciate that. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm obligated to, under contract, to play this.
Look at all the people here tonight. Can you hear me out there?
It was just, I was obligated under contract.
I
But,
slipped that in there and he didn't see it.
yeah, right.
Hey, Sean, I put the Chaos Central YouTube link in the chat. So,
Guys, in the chat, the Real Review 3000 just posted the link to the Real Review 3000, or not, to the Chaos Central YouTube page. As soon as we get 100 subscribers, we're going to have a vanity URL. And so that's where all of these videos, everything the Chaos List, Chaotic Conversation, and the Rule of 3, they're all going to be on that channel. So be sure to subscribe to that because soon we're going to be live streaming on that channel for these 3 shows, Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays.
Mhm.
But really quick, I wanted to address Jason Miller here. He said Spider-Man 3 made more money because of Venom. People wanted to see him on the big screen.
That's
That
true.
is absolutely true. Absolutely.
Well, that's partially true, and I'll tell you why it's partially true. The masses is what made that movie make so much money. The masses, they have no idea who Venom is. They went because you're talking about you had Spider-Man 1, which people loved. More people turned out for the second one, and it's like that faith is there. Toby is great. They like the different villains that they've introduced. So you literally have a dedicated fan base to that franchise, and they were going to show up even if they would have put, a piece of candy as the villain because the trust is there, and the fact that Venom was in the trailers and stuff, people saw that and they were going to go anyway, but they're like, this guy is cool. We don't know who he is. Let's go and check it out. Meanwhile, the fans are like, hey, it's Venom. And then the masses are like, we don't know who that is, but we're going to go watch it anyway.
Right. That's very true. Hey,
He's not obligated. No, he's not.
Chris, hold down the fort really quick.
All right. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I still think that Sony wants, and this is why I say this, Sony wants this deal with Disney to stay going, because when we all got the word that the deal's dead, Disney's out, no more Spider-Man in the MCU, the very day that happened, Sony's CEO came out and said, whoa, wait, no, we still want to talk with them about this. Well, there's time to get a deal done. And as soon as Sony did it, as soon as Sony came out and said it first, that's Sony saying, no, we want this. We got to figure out how to make this work. Disney stepped away. And
it was Disney's fault. Like, so Sony gave them a good deal, and Disney was like, no, we want more money. Yeah, they're stupid. I'm like, you don't need any more money. You're Disney. Shut up and accept the deal.
But
especially if I'm not mistaken, Disney got licenses in the property. I mean, in the sales from the different cards from the different toys and stuff. Man, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Right. That great point, Danny. That was one of the things I brought up. Like, when you break down the way that Sony pitched that first deal, because they went through like 3 or 4 of them before they settled on the one that I said a few moments ago. And it was all very much in favor of Disney. Just the part with the toys and the merchandise was the type of money that the average person wishes that they could see just off of that. So it just was Disney being stupid. That's all.
Tarek S, I have to admit you are correct. I am obligated to show Hagar, and by the next stream I will have a Hagar clip.
Please don't.
I can't believe that I left it out.
Please don't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're not obligated, Tim.
Actually,
please.
No, you're
please
not.
do not.
So
I would rather see Harry Connick Jr. than Hagar.
So let's say we hear that announcement again. Let's, by the time we get the next Spider-Man film, Homefront, Invasion, Spider-Man meets Craven, like whatever the title is going to end up being, after that, and then we see him appear. Say if Sony's like, you know what, Disney was fucking up again. We're done. We're not talking to you, Disney. We're going 2 years without conversation because say something else. You will never see him again. And meanwhile, they could be putting out, Venom 3 or, any number of movies with their villains. And we're all going to be like, okay, we're definitely going to watch those. And we'll watch whatever MCU movies come out. If you guys decide to do something with Spider-Man again in the MCU, we will be there. But I'm not going to be upset. It'd be like, well, there's still so much development for him, getting away from Iron Man and all that kind of stuff that you could have did, but it is what it is. I still, like I said, I don't want, one chef preparing all the food. I want different stories. I mean,
exactly.
That's why I like Jeff Loeb so much. The guy that was, running Marvel TV, just everything from The Gifted and Legion and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then all the Netflix stuff, that gave me the different flavors that I was not getting in the movies. Because I'm like, man, come on, like, have some balls, man. Make something deep. Like, everybody wants to cheer, but sometimes I want to walk out of that going, damn, like, what did I just watch? Like, did you see that story that they just told? That kind of stuff.
I hear you. All right. So moving on to topic number 3, guys. This is something near and dear to my heart because I played with these toys all the time as a kid. So Chris Brenner will write Paramount's Mask film. Paramount has finally taken another step towards getting its long gestating Mask film off the ground. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the studio has just recruited writer Chris Bremer to tackle the movie's screenplay. F. Gary Gray has been attached to direct Mask film since 2018. He's also producing the movie through his Phoenix Studios banner alongside Hasbro's Allspark Pictures. Oh, that's interesting. That's cute. Allspark, Transformers. Mask is only the latest Hasbro line that Paramount intends to bring to the big screen. The original plan was for all of these films to inhabit the same shared universe, a la the MCU. However, it's not clear if this is still Paramount's intention. Mask is still without a release date. Now, I don't know about...
Bro, I thought Mask was a lame cartoon. I don't think... put on a helmet and their car can sprout wings and the truck 18 with sprout wings.
See, I thought Mask was awesome. Like in 19 oh geez, the first.
Okay, let me make sure I'm right. They had no superpowers. They put these masks on. They somehow interface with their vehicles. Correct? That what
right.
But,
I mean, not everybody needs superpowers, man.
No, I'm not saying that. I just want to make sure I was thinking about the right cartoon.
Yeah, you're right.
Here's the thing. There were 2 seasons of this cartoon. It has been in development hell forever. If this movie comes and gets to the theater, it will bomb so quickly. And I'm not saying that, Sean, because I mean, I remember watching it. I'm not saying it to piss you off or anything. I'm just saying it has been in development hell. When this stuff happens, these movies don't do well. Think about it this way. What happened with Call of the Wild? That was in development hell for quite a while too. And it was the last, and I told you, Disney greenlit every Fox film that they thought would bomb to kill it, to kill these things off, so they didn't have to deal with it anymore, because they went through everything and handpicked what went forward and what didn't go forward. They let Dark Phoenix go forward. They've let this Call of the Wild go forward. All these that they're letting go forward are bombing.
These old cartoons don't make, like Speed Racer. It bombed. The Speed Racer was nothing like the cartoon.
And Speed Racer probably had a better chance than anything, but it just, yeah. I mean,
well, Speed Racer wasn't part of the Paramount thing.
No, I didn't say it was. I'm just talking about in general.
I thought Speed Racer was Filmation, or was it Hasbro?
I don't think it was either.
I don't think so.
Nindroid says, "Hey Sean, are you still having that Queen stream?" Yeah, we are still going to do a Queen stream, sir. It's just a matter of logistics and timing.
So Sean, you're excited for what you've been talking about?
About Mask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the cartoon. The first season was great. The second season was like they were racing on tracks and stuff. It was like NASCAR. I didn't really care for the second season, but I really enjoyed the toys. I enjoyed the cartoons from the first season. I remember my first birthday when we moved down to Texas. My first birthday, my dad took me to Toys R Us and with a check, and everything I bought was Mask. Like all Mask related toys.
It was created by Kenner, whoever that is.
Kenner, yeah. Hasbro owns Kenner now.
I'm not sure I know what Mask is. What is that about?
It's a team of people. They put on these special helmets. somehow that allows them to interface with their vehicles, and their vehicles can have different weapons and stuff. I think like there's a car, the head car is like a sports car, and there's 18 different vehicles, and they go on missions, save, fight the bad guys, and save the day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hold on just 1 second, Terrence.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not sure I've ever heard of this.
Audio, disable audio processing.
I mean, maybe if I see something, it can jog my memory, but I don't think I've ever heard of it.
All right, check this out. This is the intro.
Okay, Sean. After having seen and heard that, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that. So I definitely haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You know, just like that is my
Wait.
I remember that.
We're all heavily echoing.
Oh, hold on. I had to disable the audio processing. Hold on just 1 second. How's that?
All right, how do we sound?
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah, better.
Okay, no, I like I was saying that I would have remembered that. The mask is a mighty power. Like, I mean, there's no way I would forget that.
I mean, it's totally 80s.
That is hilarious.
I loved it.
So
Absolutely loved
Terrence, after seeing that, how excited are you for this movie?
Jason, you love the show.
I'll tell you what. I think if it's done right, I could find it intriguing. But and if they use that song in the teaser trailer, like that alone would be like, all right. So this coming out in June. All right, I'll get a ticket.
The theme song that I personally, man, it's been one of my favorite theme songs since I was a little kid. I love that theme song.
Hey, Sean, I'm going to drop out here, go get my kid, and I'll be back.
All right, Chris.
Cool.
I'll just mute and stop my camera.
That's cool. We're gonna move on to the next topic, guys. If I can find it here. All right, so topic number 3. Oh, wait, we've already done topic number 3. Topic number 4. James Gunn announces that the Suicide Squad has wrapped filming. The Suicide Squad began filming back in September. Warner Brothers memorably hired Gunn to direct the follow-up to David Ayer's original Suicide Squad shortly after Disney and Marvel fired him from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 over lewd tweets he posted several years ago. Gunn was subsequently rehired for Guardians 3, and he will begin working on that film once post-production for the Suicide Squad is finished. The Suicide Squad opens in theaters on August 6th, 2021. Now, I seem like maybe it's just me because I remember movies taking far longer than 5 months to film, you know, and I guess maybe this is the norm now, but 5 months just seems awfully quick. But you know, I have faith in James Gunn as a director and a visionary. I have no doubt that Suicide Squad is going to be lit. Danny, what are your thoughts?
I'm excited for this movie only for the fact that I'm a Elvis fan, and I'm curious what he's going to bring. How his Deadshot's going to be different than Will Smith. I thought Will Smith had the charisma and the confidence, the cockiness. One of the main scenes that resonate in my mind is when he first met Amanda Waller, showed off his shooting skill, and he shot all those targets.
Yeah.
That was one of the best scenes to me. I'm trying to see how they're gonna do what scene they're gonna do to out top that. It's kind of like if you watch on X-Men the Quicksilver scenes, those really stick out in my mind. How's they gonna make this Quicksilver scene be better than the last? How they
Exactly.
gonna make this shot be better than the last? I thought Will Smith carried the movie. One thing that was really interesting to me. The fight scene at the end was man. So I'm hoping and that this one will be much better.
I
I'm
hope
hoping that I'm really not a fan of Harley Quinn. I mean, she has her lines here or there, and she's funny in some things. In particular, when I went and saw this last movie, Birds of Prey, I didn't know Harley Quinn could fight like that. The animation that I seen, she was kind of goofy and had little pop guns. But shit, she's doing like damn capoeira, damn ninjutsu stuff in the movie, and I'm like, well, how the hell dropping you in a vat of whatever chemicals improve your fighting skill that much? That didn't seem realistic to me, but
yeah,
I
Harley
don't
Quinn can fight, man. She can fight with some of the best.
I know she could do street fighting. There's a difference in street fighting, but she was doing like fixed martial arts moves, all that flipping and kicking. I mean, when I'm going by the movies now, I've never saw her do any of that stuff or talked about it. She fell in love with Mr. J, with the Joker, fall in that vat, she come back superpowered.
Well,
that's what I got from it.
like,
Karen.
okay, there's a wait. What are you saying, Sean?
I was just gonna ask what your thoughts are.
Okay, I'll have to break this down. So, in terms of the filming being wrapped in 5 months, that is not surprising to me because in terms of how long it takes to shoot a movie, it's actually not as long as what people think. The
Not
things that right, but I mean the things that made certain filming long is when there are complications, when there are injuries. When you factor all that out, it shouldn't take you anywhere like 5 to 8 months is where it will be. And it depends on what type of movie. If it's just something where like Clerks or something like that, you can shoot that in all like 2 to 3 months if nothing goes wrong. But really it's the special effects process, the editing and stuff like that, and the music overlay that will take a couple more months. But in terms of the filming, I'm not surprised by that. James Gunn is a master of directing movies, especially like those types of movies. So he already has the ideas in his mind of what it's going to take and how long it's going to take to shoot something. So I'm not concerned there. I'm happy that he was able to do that because he said like his dad died before he started shooting, and then his dog died like 2 weeks before he finished shooting. So he had to deal with a lot of stuff. So I'm very impressed that he was able to still function considering that stuff was painful as he described, right?
Oh, sure.
So there's that. And in terms of Harley Quinn, the show of hers on the DC streaming service is actually the best representation of her fighting ability. Like she has the ability to take on 10 plus guys at the same time. Like whether that be that she's using her bat or she's using her mallet, like she can do it all. She can do that. Like the comic books are the best indication of what she can do physically, but that show is something that I direct people to when I'm like, if you want to see how badass Harley Quinn is, you see how she fights in that show. Like everything she does is about, knocking somebody out, killing them, or maybe making them, cry out for pain. She shatters their bones. She knows a lot of pressure point techniques, anything to specifically disable a person because she either gets upset or she finds it funny. And it really goes back and forth depending on the scene where you can go, oh, yeah, she thought that was funny, or she was pissed at that guy. And if you ask which one is worse, I don't know. It just depends on the day with Harley Quinn because she's insane. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So There's that, and then also in terms of all the amount of characters in the film, what that tells me is that there's a possibility that we're going to get multiple teams of the Suicide Squad. It seems to be that maybe the first team fails and Amanda Waller has to assemble a second team, or the team is so big at first that, let's say that some of them get killed off or some of them do something stupid. Amanda Waller has to blow up their head, and at which point we will then have the core team, the ones that we're going to see throughout the rest of the film. So that's what I'm thinking in terms of why there are so many characters, because obviously the movie is not going to focus on all of them equally. And if it is because it is a Suicide Squad movie, you have to factor in the stuff that I just said. Some people get killed off. There's going to be some cameos. Maybe there's multiple teams. Who knows? But I trust James Gunn, and I'm intrigued because, these characters are right up his alley. I saw that with Super, with Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page when he did that movie, what he did with the Guardians, and the Suicide Squad roster is more than 90 people plus that have been on that team. So you really can play around with that and show people characters that they've never seen or heard of and get them to like the character. Or you make them so badass that, the audience is like, oh, I hate him. I hope he dies. And, you get them investing in the character that way. So I think that, he's going to surprise a lot of people. You're going to have those humans like, it was only good because James Gunn made it. I'm like, well,
yeah,
you have to understand that he didn't make these characters. He just did a movie with the characters. The characters themselves are already great. You just have to have a great person handle them to make sure you get the material that is complementary to the history and to the characters. That's what it is. So I don't want that to happen, because you know how humans are, Sean. They go like, yeah, well, they got lucky this time because of James Gunn. You're gonna hear all that crap when it comes out.
Oh, I know it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's see here. That was that one. That was so number 5. Henry Cavill as Wolverine in Captain Marvel 2. Rumor has the sketchiest source ever. The main story being passed around about the rumor is a piece called "Is Henry Cavill Playing Wolverine in Captain Marvel 2?" from Just Jared, which I suppose is a gossip site I have at least heard of. However, Just Jared is not even the original source of the rumor, and the 160-word story is barely longer than a few tweets strung together. They link to a story from the Digital Weekly, a site I have truly never heard of, and again, who does not seem interested in sourcing this Cavill rumor at all. Another outlet reporting on this is Cosmic Book News, which cites a quartering video as reporting on the story, but he's just reporting on that sketchy Digital Weekly story. Just don't believe everything you see go viral. Terrence, what are your thoughts on Henry Cavill jumping ship and going over to Marvel for Wolverine?
I'll address that first part first.
Okay.
Whenever an actor or actress goes from Marvel to DC or DC to Marvel, I don't have a problem with that as long as the actor or the actress fits. Like when I hear something, it should just go off in my head like that's perfect or I'm intrigued. But with Henry Cavill, I'm like, no, this is a very bad idea. You have to prove to me that this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And again, this is, a rumor, so I'm not really putting too much stock into it. But I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, no. This dude, Superman, he's perfect as that. There are plenty of pretty looking comic book characters that he can play the world's over. There's plenty of characters. But in terms of Wolverine, he doesn't have the face, in my opinion. He just, I need them to do like a full, like give him the hair, maybe do something to his face to make him less pretty. Like to me, he just doesn't fit that. I'm not buying that for a second. Like that has to be a situation where I'll believe it when I see it. You show me something to change my mind, because this whole like, well, he did good as Superman and The Witcher. I'm like, Yeah, absolutely. And I hope he continues doing both of those. That's nice. And I feel like as an actor, he's definitely improved and stuff, but you definitely need to fit the character. And I just don't see him as a character. That is a problem.
Well, especially since rumor came out today saying Henry Cavill rumored back as Superman for Shazam 2. So,
Yeah, see?
yeah. I like I said in the top of this show, Henry has come out just a few months ago saying that the cape is still in his closet. He's still very much interested in playing Superman in the future. So I just don't see the amount of dedication he's put into the role just to jump ship to go over to Marvel. I mean, I could be wrong. I just don't see it.
And it's also at the beginning too, right? When you get cast as Wolverine in the beginning of something, you're going to be there for a very long time. I'm like,
exactly.
So you're going to be able to play Superman and The Witcher, but then somehow balance that out with a 10-year plus career of Wolverine. Like I don't know about that.
I agree. Danny, what are your thoughts?
I would love to see him as Wolverine. I think he can do it. People are always saying, "Well, how could he jump from one to the other?" I mean, if you remember, Chris Evans was the Human Torch. I know they're under the same umbrella. He jumped from the Human Torch, and he said, "Well, this ain't working. We want Captain America," and then that was his best move for his career.
That was still under the Marvel brand, though.
Yeah, that's what I just said. That's still in the same umbrella. But maybe Wolverine might be a better. I mean, I don't think so. I'm looking at it. My eyes say that he's the perfect Superman, but sometimes people can go something and knock it out of the park. So I wouldn't rule it out just because we don't think, because there's makeup, aesthetics, all that kind of stuff that can make you look a certain way. I think he has the acting chops. Me and Terrence discussed this in great detail on this past Sunday. People saying, "Well, he's too tall." Well, he's actually shorter than Hugh Jackman was. So the height thing's not going to be. Physically he's already fit to play the part of Wolverine. So he got to get down some of the body movements. I'm not sure how proficient he is in martial arts, because we know Wolverine is very proficient in martial arts. He don't require that same kind of training as Superman. So I don't know whether or not he can get that, but I think it's something that he really wants to do. But again, looking where this came from, it's not even remotely going to happen. But hypothetically, if it was to happen, I would have zero problem with Henry Cavill being the next Wolverine if you get the right look. I think me and Terrence discussed that if they give him like K9s or something like that.
I don't think he has the right look.
I think he could if he grew out the beard and they did his hair correctly. I think he'd be an okay Wolverine. I just don't until there's some concrete information one way or the other. I'm gonna choose not to believe it.
I'm just gonna
right.
I want to say this one last thing. Just like I think me and Sean, I'm not sure about Chris or Terrence, but I didn't think Michael Keaton could pull off Batman.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
I did not think that Ben Affleck.
That's different. That's different.
I don't know.
Well, my opinion on that. Go ahead, Terrence.
No, go ahead. I'm just thinking.
I was just going to say my opinion on the, Keaton being able to do it or Affleck being able to do it wasn't based off of necessarily the part he was playing or what they would look like. It was going off of what they had done in the past. Not could they or couldn't they? It was like, I mean, I just don't see Cavill jumping ship on, like Sean said, a character he has wholeheartedly said many times he is wanting to come back to. And if this were true, if this was even near true or in any sort of stage of talks, I think he's a smart guy, and he'd know that would severely hurt his chances of ever coming back as Superman.
Okay, I'll give you that point. I'll give you that point, but let's make this point. You know, sometimes these actors be like, they have certain things that drives them. So what would be a more bigger challenge? Because everybody in the world is saying nobody can be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But I say, well, I think I could do that. That'd be a big challenge to me. And I think he already has the physical appearance from the neck down. The only thing that I'm hearing Terrence saying and you're saying is that Terrence said his exact words, he's too pretty for that. Let's just say he could get the right makeup, grow his hair, get the right style. I mean, all that stuff that Hollywood can do. And he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
If they can do that, it's kind of like how I told you, Danny. Like, I mean, I can be convinced. I'm not, gonna say it's impossible, but see, in terms of like, say Ben Affleck, when I remember when they announced him as Batman, I was like, I'm not sure about this one, but maybe. You know what I mean? I had that maybe, and my one condition, my first condition would be at the time that I said, let me see how he looks in the suit. And then Kevin Smith was like, oh, you guys are going to like this. I'm like, damn, what happened to Ben? So, I click on it and I'm like, oh shit. Okay. He definitely looks good in the suit. Like, let's see a teaser. And then when they showed a clip of him just driving somebody through a wall in one of the fight scenes, I'm like, he's Batman. I don't even have to see the movie. He's Batman. Like it was like that. And in the case of Henry, if I'm in the office and they put a bunch of actors on the table, I would shove his aside. I'm like, no, that's a no. And then I will look at everybody else.
Glad you're here, Lisa. Nice to see you.
So, if they, because I'm a fan of his, I want the best for him, and I want to be able to cheer for him. But Wolverine is just one of those characters where you can't mess him up. You just can't do that. And as a director, if I'm directing the X-Men movie, right? And Henry Cavill or Bobby Totem or whoever comes to my attention, like, oh well, how do you feel I should go about this? Everybody's saying Hugh Jackman. I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right there. I want you to bash that out of your head right now. Hugh Jackman is irrelevant. You have to do the best that you can do. If you focus on Hugh Jackman, you're probably going to end up copying him, and people are going to be pissed at you for that. You need to do your own thing. Forget Hugh Jackman. You can see him and shake his hand and be like, thank you for helping make this character even more popular than it was, but you need to be you. That's what you need to do. And if you do that well, the conversation will be, I like him as Wolverine. It does not need to be that we prefer you over Hugh Jackman. It needs to be that people show you respect. You get respect by doing the best you can do with your own stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Sean, I want to, Alan Dewey said, what about Jack Nicholson as Wolverine? Have you ever seen the movie Wolf? Not now, no way. But y'all saw called Wolf when he was a werewolf?
Oh yeah.
Back then, that was Wolverine-like.
Yeah, a younger Jack Nicholson could have done Wolverine.
You know what though? I would let's say way back then he's young, and they were to put his picture on the table. I'd be like, out of all these actors, I feel like I'm interested in seeing what he does the most, only because he's Jack Nicholson. Like the faces that he's able to make, he just like can look extremely insane, which is why The Shining works so well. Like there's no way you're gonna look at him and be like, yeah, that's not gonna be a problem. No, he's the complete problem of the entire. Like it'd be like I go into the hotel, like do. Nope, turn around and leave. Like we ain't staying here. That's the guy that killed us all in our sleep. But seeing him with the hair and the cigar and stuff. I would have to tell him before I start filming. I'd be like, okay, look, Wolverine only has so many expressions that he makes, and I want you to be careful to not present this character as being psychotic. That's not what the audience is supposed to be thinking. You need to look mad and serious, but I don't want them to feel like they're watching The Shining, but it just happens to be Wolverine. So I feel like the director would need to direct him accordingly, and that's an important thing. I want you to understand that. I feel like I believe that he could have did it, but he needs to have the proper direction, because even the best actor can make a misstep with a shitty ass director.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right, well, we are coming to close of the show, but before we end it, I want to play the obligatory
Oh my god.
that word. Danny, you know what this is. But check this out, guys. We'll be back in just 1 second.
Are you looking to find the latest in geek culture, gaming news, or awesome opinion pieces while supporting fellow Fandom Menace members? There's a new site for that. Go to chaoscentral.com and all your needs will be met. Find a wide range of products on our Teespring account. All proceeds of Chaos Central merch go to the KC team members and continuing updates to our website. To donate to the Chaos Central cause or to our channels, all links can be found in the description box below.
And we are back. That is just an ad that we have to play to keep our power on and the microwave working. And so it's been a great show, guys. Thank you, Danny, Chris, and Terrence for being here. Thank you, everybody in the audience. We've still got 6 people in the chat. Very, very cool. Anything else you guys want to say before we end the show?
No.
Just want to say thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
I wanted to say, thank you for having me on, because I'm not even supposed to be here. Yeah.
You have an open invitation anytime, man. Anytime.
No, I appreciate that, but I mean, when something is not part of the plan, and then someone like myself becomes part of the plan, I feel like it's because of you being my friend and our chemistry and stuff. And I believe Chris is one of my friends too, but he's never outright said it. So there's that. But
Chris,
I consider you a friend too. There, I mean,
okay, yeah.
I gotta say that, because if I don't, you're liable to kill me when you become the overlord of the universe.
That's right.
Come on, Chris. Like that's. Don't you think that's even worse than just saying no?
No, I'm just joking, because you were talking about it the other day when you were.
No, I know, but it's like, wouldn't that be a bad thing to tell an overlord? Like, I was just pretending to be your friend so I wouldn't die. Like, sir.
Well, when you say it like that, yeah, I mean, that does sound pretty bad.
No. I understand. It's all good. I'm just saying that I'm very grateful that you all have embraced me in the way that you have, because I don't know if you guys notice, but sometimes, man, humans, they just be giving Terrence a hard time. Like,
oh yeah, I know. Humans are horrible. I hope I never become one.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah.
Hashtag reject humanism.
Exactly. Yeah. But on that note, guys, thank you for everybody who's tuned in. Thank you everybody who has contributed to the topic, and look for this. Look for all these shows on Chaos Central's YouTube page coming up. And like I said, when we hit 100 subs, we're going to start broadcasting live on Chaos Central Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. Until then, Sundays will be on Chris's channel, The Real Review 3000. Tuesdays will be on Danny's channel, Comic Chat.
No. Tuesday is your channel. Monday is his time.
Oh, I skipped today, didn't I? Okay, yeah. Sundays will be on Chris's channel. Tuesdays will be on my channel, and Wednesdays will be on Danny's channel. So
Mondays.
Sundays will be on Chris's channel. Mondays will be on Danny's channel. Tuesdays will be on my channel.
He got it.
I knew I could get it. Numbers and all of that mathematical stuff. But until next time, guys, thank you for joining us here on Sean Stackhouse Reacts and the Chaos List. Until next time, take care.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Menace. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute. And you can also send us an email at SHAUN@StackHouseReacts.com and Chris Knight at TheRealReview3000.com. Be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.